They say old houses have memories that the walls soak up the lives lived within them. I never believed it, not really. To me, a house was just wood, plaster, and nails. That all changed the summer I stayed at my great-aunt Alara's cottage. It was nestled deep in the countryside, miles from the nearest town, a place where the trees grew so thick they seemed to swallow the sunlight. The cottage itself was ancient, with a thatched roof that looked like a shaggy, overgrown haircut, and windows that stared out like vacant eyes. Aunt Alara had passed away, and my family sent me to clear the place out. A good summer project, my dad had said. The first few days were mundane. I sorted through dusty photo albums, packed away kitschy porcelain figures, and battled cobwebs that seemed to regenerate overnight. The silence was the most unsettling part. It was a heavy, pressing silence, broken only by the creak of floorboards and the sighing of the wind. The strangeness began on the fourth night. I was in the living room trying to decipher Aunt Alara's spidery handwriting in an old journal, when I heard it. A faint, rhythmic tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It sounded like it was coming from upstairs, from the small, unused bedroom at the end of the hall. I told myself it was just the house settling or a branch against the window. But the rhythm was too deliberate, too consistent. Curiosity, or maybe foolishness, got the better of me. I crept up the groaning staircase, my heart thumping a nervous drumbeat against my ribs. The hallway was dark, the air thick and cold. As I approached the door to the spare room, the tapping stopped. Just silence. I slowly turned the cold brass doorknob and pushed the door open. The room was empty, bathed in pale moonlight filtering through the dusty window pane. A single, rick-backed rocking chair sat in the center of the room. Nothing else. No branch, no loose shutter. I backed out, closed the door, and tried to convince myself I was just tired, my imagination running wild in this isolating place. The next night it happened again. Tap, tap, tap. This time it was louder, more insistent, and it was accompanied by another sound, a faint, almost inaudible humming, like a lullaby sung from a great distance. I froze, my blood turning to ice. I didn't go upstairs this time. I locked my bedroom door, pulled the covers over my head, and waited for the dawn, my ears straining against the terrifying sounds. Over the next week, things escalated. I'd hear whispers that seemed to ride on the breeze, too faint to make out the words but carrying a tone of sorrowful pleading. Doors I knew I had closed would be standing wide open. Objects would move. A teacup on the edge of a table one moment would be on the floor the next, unbroken, as if gently placed there. I was on the verge of packing up and leaving, convinced the house was driving me mad. But my search through Aunt Alara's belongings led me to a locked wooden chest in the attic. After struggling with the rusty lock, I finally pried it open. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed linens, was a small leather-bound diary. It wasn't Alara's. The name on the first page was Lillian. Lillian's entries started cheerfully. She was a young woman who had lived in the cottage a century ago. She wrote of her love for the countryside, her garden, and her husband, Thomas. But the tone of the diary shifted dramatically. She wrote about her pregnancy, her excitement, and then her crushing fear. The baby was due in winter, and a fierce storm was approaching. The doctor was miles away. The last few entries were frantic, written in a shaky, almost illegible hand. She wrote of being alone, of the storm raging outside, of the pain starting. She wrote of the rhythmic tapping of a loose shutter against the nursery window, the room she'd prepared for her child. Tap, tap, tap. She mentioned humming a lullaby to soothe her own fears. The final entry was just a few words smudged as if by tears. "He's not breathing, my little boy is not breathing." My heart sank. The nursery. I looked up from the diary, my eyes landing on the attic's small, grimy window. Across the hall, visible from where I stood, was the door to that small, unused bedroom. The rocking chair, the tapping, the lullaby. It wasn't a shutter. It was a mother, rocking an empty cradle, forever trying to soothe a child who never cried. Suddenly, a cold draft swept through the attic, extinguishing my flashlight and plunging me into darkness. The air grew heavy, thick with a profound, suffocating sadness. And then I heard it, not from the room but right behind me. A whisper, clear as day, a woman's voice choked with grief. "Have you seen my baby?" I didn't scream. I couldn't. The sound was trapped in my throat. I scrambled blindly for the attic ladder, my hand slipping on the rungs. I stumbled down, not stopping, not looking back. I burst out of the cottage and into the night, running without direction, the cold air burning my lungs. I didn't stop running until the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, and the dark silhouette of the cottage was far, far behind me. I never went back. I called my parents and told them to hire professionals, that I couldn't do it. I never told them the real reason why. Some memories a house should be allowed to keep. Some sorrows are too deep to be disturbed, and some lullabies are not meant for the living. Thank you so much for watching. If this story sent a shiver down your spine, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe, and always check what's hiding in the silence.